Hello and welcome to Nothing Happens. I'm Dave.
I'm Tom. We have a lot of opinions, but no facts.
Mapton Carvel.
Marvel at your captain, who alienated half the audience before the film's release. I wasn't offended. Were you?
No, not particularly. Especially after all of the stuff that's been going around about how this is the worst Marvel film of all time. Everyone's going to die. Your brain will fall out.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
I don't know. It was. Yeah, I was actually disappointed by how lack of disappointed I was by the disappointment in this film.
Yes, I mean, for anyone who hasn't cottoned on yet, we went to see Captain Marvel literally minutes ago, and this is our first ever time reviewing a film. Thank you to anyone who's listening, and thank you to anyone who checked out our previous episode, the worst episodes of the Batman animated series. We're going to talk about Captain Marvel today. We will keep it spoiler-free for now. It will have spoilers later on, but Dave will do his
Spoilers!
before we actually get into that bit. So, let's get into the non-spoiler section. So yeah, for me, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And there's...
It's not perfect by any stretch. It's definitely Marvel not working at its best, but at no point in the film was I very much off board. If that's... Could you be off board?
I don't know, but even if you could be off board, I mean, okay, so this film for me was definitely not in the same category as Infinity War, but obviously, I mean, we knew it wasn't going to be. There's plenty of Marvel films that aren't.
Yeah. So therefore, so on the scale of starting at Infinity War, making its way down, was it as bad as Age of Ultron for you?
Ha! Age of Ultron is a funny one for me though, because I find it kind of dumb. So I would watch it when I'm hungry. It would be the last Avengers film that I would watch, but I watch it more just because it's, seeing them on screen and you're like, look at them go. Forget the story. This, I actually did enjoy the story. I really liked the team up between Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson. I thought they bounced off each other really well on screen, and it was
and they did a really good job of de-aging him as well.
They did a really good job.
Was that CGI or was that makeup or was that a weird combination of the two? Or?
I think it must just be really good makeup, because there was never any point to me where it was really that jarring, and it looked like him the whole time.
I think there was one bit of it where he kind of smiled, and I was like, that looks a bit weirdly unnatural. I'm not sure if that's a real thing or not, but no. Overall, I was very impressed with that. Do you think when he got out of the makeup chair, he was sort of sad because I don't look like this anymore?
I don't know. Would you feel like that as an actor, as a fellow actor? Is that how you would feel?
I don't know. I'll have to wait until I'm in my 50s. I'm assuming Samuel L. Jackson's in his 50s.
I mean, I assume so. I love it. I did really, to go back to it, I did really love their pair up though. It did feel like a good buddy cop team up.
She would not have been strong enough on her own.
No.
That was, to be fair, you always need someone to play off within these things anyway, but I think their pairing definitely worked really well, while I think if it was more based around her story arc, I would not have really cared that much.
No, and that was the thing, that when this film did start, I was, we both talked about that, we were just a bit like, meh, at the start, in that it didn't really... I wasn't that gripped, but I think that's probably with all of the, we'll get on to everything that was said beforehand and all of the spoilers, feminism sort of aspect of it. But yeah, we'll get on to that later. But so maybe it was because of all of that I was a bit meh for this film. But then again, this is not a very popular character. But then again, Guardians, I was still excited to go into. I was still excited to go into Iron Man. I didn't really know who Iron Man was when the first one came out either.
I think with things like Iron Man, he had a bit more, because he had his own cartoon series, which was crap, admittedly, in the 90s.
Yeah, I didn't watch that though. I didn't really know any of that.
Enough.
So it is the same peggings for me.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of a slow start. This film did the same thing for me that I had when watching Batman v Superman, in that I could tell which bits were going to come next from the trailers that I'd watched, which isn't the film's fault.
Yeah.
But I knew that as soon as she started tracing the first Skrull or Skrull, I forget how Skrull, that's it. Both wrong. Well, when that first chasing happened, I was like, and it's going to go to the train. And so each of these things I could see that the mechanics, that's not a failing on the film though, that's just the trailers. Pacing was fine, action was good. I am going to talk about the soundtrack. The soundtrack I loved. It was great to hear like Garbage on the soundtrack again. My favourite Garbage song as well. And then to jump from that to like the Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls was nice, was good. Some of the 90s thing was a little bit, it was a bit hammered, like when she's at the phone booth and there's posters for PJ Harvey and Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
I mean, she literally falls into a blockbuster at the start of a film. Once that happened, I was just like, okay, right, we're in a region of the past which had Blockbuster in it.
And we have to talk about Stanley's cameo, of course. The great Stanley. My favourite cameo.
No. Before we get to that, I think the.
Oh,
the
I guess that's a spoiler. I guess that's a spoiler.
No, it's not a spoiler. For my thing was more the fact that the opening Marvel credits. Where they just,
oh, yes.
So instead of having images of
it's all of his previous
it's all
cameos.
Of his previous cameos just also like
Yeah.
synced into the Marvel logo, and it's just like for Stan or like thank you Stan.
It's
or
thank
something.
you, Stan.
It was really sweet.
It
I
was really
like,
sweet, and I'm so
yeah.
glad that it said thank you, Stan,
Yeah.
and that it wasn't something like, you know, in loving memory of such as or you know, R.I.P. Stan or anything. It was just a thank you, which I don't know the guy personally. I don't know a vast amount about him, but you know that he would really like that as well. So, but yeah, this is my favourite cameo of his, and he's. I will talk about it in spoilers actually, because when it just comes out of nowhere, it is so good.
There are definitely moments in this where it's like, oh yeah, it's the 90s, and there's other moments where they literally whack you round the head with, oh, we want to watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and it was just like, okay, I get what decade we're in right now.
To be honest, it did the same thing that Stranger Things season 2 did for me with the 80s. It was just like I felt, but not as bad. That season for me, I felt like I was being slapped around the face with an 80s wet dish rag by the end of it. It was just like, oh, not everyone listened to Metallica. They, you know, just so many cultural references to the 80s, whoosh, whoosh, that it didn't do it as badly as Stranger Things 2. But it was almost up there. But as someone who is a big fan of 90s
who
music.
grew up in the 90s.
Yes. I mean, the 90s isn't as good as everyone likes to remember, but I do really like, especially sort of mid-90s music, and that was what this film leaned quite heavily on. Well, I'll talk about some of the songs that they used a bit later in spoilers, just because some of them happened towards the end of the film, so I don't want to talk about them now. I mean, in terms of complaints, I would say that there's a lot of early humour that... Well, not early humour. There's humour in the early part of the film that didn't quite land for me.
She can't quite get it. Maybe she'll be better when she's teamed up with.
I think she'll bounce better off other people because when her and Sam Jackson made jokes together, it worked.
But for her, just as a, I don't know. I remember there have been some complaints about Brie Larson's portrayal of this character, and yes, it doesn't quite work in certain moments, but it never felt to me like she was, you know, it's because it's that classic. It's a fish out of water story. It's a you know, a buddy cop story. It's all these different kind of things sort of melded in together, which works, but her on her own needs to find her feet a little bit more. She didn't come out of it like what's his name playing Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. just immediately, right, there you go, that's his character already sorted. In her case, it took a bit of time for her to sort of get going, and maybe it will take until a later film for her to do that. But I think she grew on me. As the film progressed, she definitely grew on me.
I mean, I bought the whole... I bought her portrayal, and I don't know any of the original source material, as a lot of people don't. No one really. She like Captain Marvel in any portrayal, as in, you know, I mean, like Ms. or Miss Marvel pops up in like the 90s X-Men cartoon.
Yeah.
But apart from that, there's a...
Yeah, wasn't she... Because isn't that how Rogue got her powers? She siphoned them off.
Yeah, well,
I remember something about
well,
that.
In that version, it is.
Yeah.
But so this is a character that hasn't had as much mainstream attention as a lot of the others. So yeah, not really knowing that much about her, I'm not in a position. Like, I have a lot of opinions on this, but like this podcast always emphasizes, we have no facts. So this is just our opinions. But no, I mean, I enjoyed it. I didn't think that she was perfect either. Like, by no means. I thought at times that she was a bit. Would brash be the word? But she didn't come across as perfect to me. I mean, in terms of, she didn't have that much of an arc. She learned, like, I liked the thing of that she's constantly being told at the start, your emotions will betray you, and you need to basically be like faceless. You need to be a robot, or just bury them and not use them.
Well, you need to be a soldier. That was her
Yes,
thing, wasn't it?
but-
There was a lot of flashbacks about that as
Yes.
in the first part where it's actually
Did the-
failing and that kind of thing.
Did you find the flashbacks like jarring at all, or was it, or do you think they interrupted storytelling? Or
I didn't find them jarring as such, because you have, there was a load of ones about how where she's trying to do something and fails, and she tries to do something and fails, and then that later on sort of did come a bit full circle. So shall we go into the spoilers now?
I mean, is there much? I can't really think of much else to say about this.
I really
this
want to
film.
talk about a lot of things which are going to
Yeah,
be
I mean,
basically for
I
the
can't. I
spoilers.
mean, I can't think of anything else.
Because the film gets better as it goes along,
That's the
because of
thing.
reveals, because of things that happen within it. So shall we just go for it now?
Let's just go for it.
Right,
But
spoilers.
okay, so
Off we
officially
go.
in spoiler
There
territory,
we
you
go.
have been warned.
So the fact is, it's like, when you're shown these flashbacks, when you're shown her when she falls down the rope, when she crashes the go-kart, when she does all these, when she does these various different things, and then at the end, her thing that inspires her is that after every single one of these things, she stands up. She's always able to
Yes.
pick herself up. Everyone is trying to put her down, and you see all these bits of it, and it's actually like, no. And she wasn't inspired by anyone else. It's interesting how, for once, a hero doesn't need someone else to kind of pick them up. A hero actually comes forward, and it's just like, no, I did this. I was able to pick myself up, and I was able to get myself through these situations, and that is what will get through me now. Is a really strong thing to be able to do, especially as has been pointed out, this is a woman-centered. It's that rung true to me as a good feminist message. It wasn't heavy-handed. It wasn't. It wasn't jarring in any way. It was like, no, I can stand up for my fucking self, and
Definitely.
I really like that.
Definitely, it was. There was never at any point in this film where I felt being beaten over the head in the way that a lot of, from what I gathered, a lot of people have been saying about this film.
It's so much about feminism, and it's just like, no, it's just a woman playing a superhero and how it's going to work. Like, I don't know, it doesn't seem to be a problem.
No, a lot of her flashbacks actually reminded me of things that my mum has said that she would get annoyed about growing up. And no, granted, my mum didn't grow up in the 90s, but neither did this character either. This is just the period that the movie's set. But a lot of things that my mum, having an older brother, she would get really annoyed when she was growing up, like, why can't I have a bike and why can my brother can? And she would be told, because he's a boy. And my mum just being told that a lot while she was growing up. And even that, for the point where this character would be at the age that she would be at in the 90s, having grown up, it would have been a different time that she had been growing up. And that is how you were spoken to, from my understanding, as a woman, as a girl growing up. You were put down. This is a man's world. And but so to me, it just reminded me of stuff that I had been told about that. I didn't find it offensive. I didn't find it shocking. I didn't find it jarring.
No.
I found it like, yeah, fair enough. I mean, how many films have we seen about guys being told, or the nerds or whatever? It's just because it's a man, it's always there is still the character being put down by other people, being told you're nothing and you're not good and you can't do this. And then overcoming that.
Like, if it had been, like the whole point of the first Captain America film is that he's a scrawny guy, he's not allowed to do these things, but he has the heart to do it, and da-da-da-da-da, and goes through a transformation and works out. There's a weird. I was just starting to realise a parallel that's like there. But no one came out and was just like, it's all against scrawny guys. And it's like, no, it's a different art, but it's from a woman's perspective. That's the only difference, and it's about how she has overcome other people putting her down. Not even, it doesn't even need to be about the fact that she's a woman. It's just the fact that she's too emotional.
It's just that she's too emotional,
which I guess, unfortunately, is something which women are told if they are, if they're not in their place, I suppose.
Oh,
it's like, you're just being emotional, or you're just basically they were saying you're just on your period.
Yeah,
If that's
there's-
if that's what people want to come away from this from, then fine. But I totally just kind of get that. No, it's an underdog story of someone that keeps getting put down, and then at the end finds the inner strength, or has always had this inner strength,
Yeah.
and brings that forward. And that is
Exactly.
a really good story arc. I think.
Yeah, I think that she had a good arc. I think it's and it annoys me as well when people go on about the first Iron Man film arc. They're like, yeah, he did this, and then he was in the desert, and he learned that he was wrong, and so he came back, and that's a good arc. It's like he didn't have a character arc. He was just like, oh, I've been selling weapons to bad people. I'm going to stop that. He's still a douche. He's still a douche even now. He didn't change. That's no character arc. Like, fuck you. Like, there's nothing there. That's why, you know.
Especially in the second film where he actually says he is privatized.
Yeah,
Like,
he's a tool.
He literally like makes weapons, but now he's making Iron
Yeah,
Man
you
suits.
can take the tool out of the toolbox, but it's still a tool.
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous. That's why Thor's first film is, I think, massively underrated, because he actually does have an arc.
Yeah.
He is humbled. He learns the errors of his ways and actually has a personality change.
I still have a soft spot
Like-
for the second Thor film. It's terrible. It is just awful, but it's quite fun.
It's not as bad as I remembered it, because when I rewatched it, I think it was last Christmas, or it doesn't matter, but I rewatched it after seeing it in the cinema, and we both walked out of the cinema like, my God, that was so bad.
Because you were like the main bad guy was defeated by a bunch of science people with tripods.
Yeah, literally. Oh, never mind. But
Anyway, yeah.
but anyway, getting back to this, no, character arc was good.
I was very much like that. I was finally happy that Ben Mendelsohn was not like, okay, he came across at the start and it was like, you're the bad guy, you're the slightly insignificant, not that interested in you bad guy. Wow, that's not been what we've seen before in Rogue One, in Ready Player One, in just one something. I guess.
Is there another one?
I really hope there's a third one.
Really, please email in or comment if there is a third Ben Mendelsohn one.
But yeah, but he's always like a quite forgettable villain, and in this one I was like, oh great, here we go, you're quite a forgettable villain. Oh, hang on. No, you're not the villain anymore, and it was just like, oh, this is
No.
actually really interesting now. I did find it a bit weird where it's like the Skrull have weird sort of south-east London accents where with like a weird jaw area where they can't quite talk properly through that. I was just like, why have we decided on this as an accent?
I mean, I
Person
don't
who
know.
directed this film.
I did think that, but then I also thought, well, in other ways, there's plenty of other aliens out there that have really, like what is it in Guardians where he tries to sell the orb to that Kree guy,
collector.
and he talks like that, and I don't want anything like that. It's like, well, why did we decide on that accent for that
No,
person?
no, true.
I'm just sort of like, well,
I mean, that might have just been his accent because he was doing that the whole time. Ben Mendelsohn was just like normal.
yeah, fair. I mean, I do get that, but I mean, so how did you feel about this, like, you know, twist?
I don't know. I was quite. I think because I was going through this, going, oh, for God's sake, here we go, forgettable villain played by Ben Mendelsohn, and then actually,
Is that all you were thinking during
Yes,
this
because
whole
I
film?
was just watching it, just going, it's like, oh, now you're the bad guy, and I was like, oh, you're not the bad guy. Oh, I guess Jude Law's going to be the bad guy, who I kind of thought was pretty much going to
Well,
be.
we knew he was going to be the bad guy going
I mean,
in.
it was quite obvious from the start. It was just like, you know, I'm your mentor, but I'm keeping stuff from you. It's like, yeah, you're the bad guy.
Yeah.
Also, you can't trust something called the Supreme Intelligence either, or whatever that thing.
No,
is.
no,
Like,
you can't. You
No.
can't at all.
I mean, I don't know because
I didn't mind him. I thought he was fine.
Yeah.
This is the thing I think with some Marvel films in some ways, though, is that I feel that they're becoming a little bit predictable in some ways.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. They've basically got what they do nailed.
Yeah.
And it's just that we've all been enjoying them so much that it has become predictable. Like when he, puts his weapons down at the end and he's like, "Come on, prove to me, like fists, like nothing else." And it's just like she's just gonna hit him with a blast, because why wouldn't you anyway?
Yeah.
Like she's smart. Just
Yeah.
like
She's literally taken out an entire Kree armada. Kree armada basically, and it's like, and now you're going to do fisticuffs, and it was like, yeah, I would have been more shocked if they actually have fought.
Yes,
in
I
that
would have
sort
been
of
more
way.
shocked if they fought. Actually, okay, so getting back to this. So in terms of the whole plot, and in terms of like plot holes, the only one that I could really think of is I don't know how Fury knew she was in that bar.
Okay.
Like that's
He
the
just kind
only.
of well, I was thinking about this. So, isn't it the hang on?
She steals that
motorbike.
that guy's motorbike.
Yeah.
What song is it that plays during that? It's Garbage. Yeah,
Okay,
that's when Garbage on the Happy When It Rains plays.
Okay.
God, I love that song. Anyway,
I can't think. I thought I had a way around that, but I was like, no, because he didn't know who she was, or just
no.
anything.
So I don't.
He had no connection to her going to the base or anything. So he was just like, yeah, I'm Samuel L. Jackson. I can totally follow you here for some reason.
Yeah, so I don't quite get how he follows them there.
See, my thing was about that. So the whole plot line for me, the main core of it is that there's the doctor who's designed this faster than light travel ship, who it can't fall into the Kree hands because then they can find the Skrulls, but then because then they'll travel faster than light, but the Kree can already travel faster than light, but the Skrulls can't travel faster than light, so therefore they need it.
I think it's that
I needed more context.
I think it's because
technology.
she was hiding these Skrulls on her ship.
Yeah.
And I think that rather than maybe the energy source,
Right.
it's that she is a traitor and she is harbouring enemies.
Right.
And so it's more that they wanted to find them and exterminate them, because not only are they enemies, but they're also like families of a rebel fighter.
But they were definitely after the energy source, because when she shoots the thing,
they take her, but with
exactly,
yeah.
which is really weird because then they.
Well, I guess then they are as well, but it's
but
also
they didn't just harvest the energy or from her. I think it's that they turned her into a warrior for some reason.
Well, yeah, because if they can use her.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that, and yeah, I get that they. I mean, okay, yeah, so they want the Tesseract, but it's just also in the same way I would feel how you would just want something like that. You wouldn't want it falling into the hands of your enemy, even if you don't want it for light speed. It's like, we don't care what you're going to use it for. We don't want you having it.
It'd be really interesting to watch the film again, where the entire first part of the film, she basically massacres an entire Skrull ship of people. And now, knowing what we know, that the Skrulls are actually technically the good guys, it's like, well, you've just killed a bunch of innocent people. Well, I guess not innocent because they're in war, but
yeah,
whatever.
That is something that I liked as well, when Ben Mendelsohn's character says to her, like, you know, it's war, my hands are filthy from it too.
Yeah.
It's that they, like, he's by no means making out that they are. Is your phone going off during this?
No.
You're not even silence it during...
No, I was checking his name was Ben Mendelsohn. I was fairly sure it was, but I didn't want to say, because we've mentioned his name so many times, and I was just like...
I have to re-record the whole thing.
I'm just really happy. I was just making sure it was like Men Bendelson or something. And I was just like, right, okay, it's definitely Ben Mendelsohn. Carry on. It's definitely Lewd Jaw.
No, I did.
It's like the idea of a lewd jaw.
Yeah.
No, oh, fuck's sake.
I did,
Anyway.
but anyway, no, I liked that, because then it's not making out that there is necessarily even bad guys and good guys in this. It's just war.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere. So that's what it's going to be like. And these people were just trying to escape it. So I liked that. I thought the humour was great, but again, like we've talked about how Sam Jackson and Brie Larson was. No. Between those two,
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I thought
basically any scene with Samuel L. Jackson in it, there was really good humour in it. That was
He's great in
because
this.
because
He
it's
is
not-
fantastic.
Yeah, because it's not just between her; it's between him and her. It's between him and the cat, or the
Yes.
Flurgle, or whatever that thing was called.
Yeah, so that was weird and sort of came a bit out of nowhere, which made a bit more sense when they're scanning the things. And when they scan the cat and they're like,
Muzzle
God,
it.
yeah, and he's like, it's just a cat,
Yeah.
like, but they know what it is, and it's like, this is a high risk creature, we need to put it in here. And then they scan him and they're like, human male, like threat level nil. I was like, ooh, so many men are going to like that, are they? They're gonna really hate that but they said male, and they said that he's zero threat. It's like, oh, had your penis cut off now because someone's offended your entire sex, because this affects your way of life. Like, God, just anyway. I'll come to all this a bit more later when I have the energy, but it's just absurd. I really can't, like, if Brie Larson's comments before this have affected your way of life or made you feel any less of a person or threatened in like your position in society, as a man, as a white male, then you have a lot of issues to work through.
Yeah.
Because this is just a film about... Never once in this film does it make out that women are better than men. It's a level playing field in this.
Which is what feminism is.
Equality.
Yeah.
And that's all that this film is. It's just putting a woman in a man's lead role.
She doesn't need a romantic interest. Like, there's literally not one.
That
There's
is
no romantic interest.
That is a fantastic point, and I didn't even realise that watching it. And it's funny because I was thinking something's missing from this, but and it's not until you've said it that is such a good point. And you know what? That's actually really. But no, you just had this great buddy team up, which did feel like friendship. At no point.
No sexual chemistry.
Yeah.
No nothing. It was like not even hinted at.
They just felt like friends. There was no point where I was ever like, this might go somewhere, or they might hint at they had some sort of like a mini romance together, and that's why he kept the pager or something. No, all good, fantastically well handled.
What did you think of the eye?
The eye, I really liked.
It was dumb. It was saved.
It's a Marvel film.
It was okay. It was saved. So when it initially happened and it was meow meow scratch, I was like, that is the reason why Nick Fury has one eye, is because he was scratched by an intergalactic cat. That's never explained why it's on Earth.
No, it's not.
It just is.
But it's
okay, fine. But then later on, they did save it with the whole. Is it true that you refused to give information to the Kree, so they burned off your eyes? And I will neither confirm nor deny that. I was like, okay, fine.
That's really good.
Of saved the joke.
Oh,
there,
it's some more.
Like when it initially happened, I was just like, that's dumb. I don't like this.
No, I thought I disagree. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was really well handled, and I much prefer it to it being something like, because we've seen someone losing their eye in a dramatic way. We got that with
we were literally waiting the entire film, just going, is this how he loses that? No. Yeah. Moving on. Is this the bit where he loses it? Like, no. And then it's we
that.
We were waiting for this moment.
I thought it was
just
great.
Constant thing, and it was like, okay, fine. Marvel did a Marvel thing. Sorry, Marvel did a Marvel thing where they were just
it's good because they couldn't really do it after Thor lost his eye. That was a brutal way to lose an eye. Well, they're just going to do something like that again.
That would have been really weird if just Hela just appeared and just went, okay, excuse me, poof, there goes your eye, and then disappeared, and it's just like, oh, I've seen this before.
Yeah, there's nowhere they got that from. The Stan Lee cameo, before I forget, that's my most favourite cameo of his. He's on the train and he's reading the script for Mallrats and he's practicing his lines. Oh my god, but he's practicing the line true believer, and he just keeps saying true believer, he just keeps saying it over and over again. Ah, genius, so genius, love it, absolutely love it. It's the best cameo from him.
I wonder when his last one is going to be.
Apparently, I think he's done the next 3
he has
films.
okay.
He has done a few because they just shoot them basically all at once. Well, not all at once, obviously, but they shoot a bunch at once apparently. Okay. So the thing where a couple of things that did fall down in this film for me was that it suffered from the same thing that Doctor Strange had, where it didn't have what Marvel films do so well, which is the fuck yeah moment.
Yeah.
This I can best illustrate
because it had the wrong soundtrack for it.
It wasn't necessarily the wrong soundtrack. I don't know if it was quite directed in the right way, but yes, definitely it was the wrong. Well, actually, no, I will. Yes, yeah, it was the song.
It was, but it was also okay. Fine, she gets her full ability of powers, and then she takes out a bunch of Kree ships, and then she like bangs her fists together, and then what's his name from Guardians of the Galaxy goes, "We're gonna run away now."
Yeah, but that wasn't the fuck. Well, that wasn't what I thought was supposed to be the fuck yeah moment. Basically, for anyone who doesn't know, the fuck yeah moment, and the best way to illustrate this is like in the first Avengers film, when like when Hulk transforms, when he's like,
I'm always angry.
And he punches down the thing, and then all of the CGI army turn and go, Mah! And it plays the big swell, burm, 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 and all the Avengers gather, and at that moment you're like, fuck yeah, wreck some shit. Another great one is the Thor Ragnarok one with Immigrant Song, where he comes down and then does his little Raiden move, like bum na 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 bum na na. Like those are the fuck yeah
And
moments.
Infinity War is when Thor turns up as
Yes.
well, and it's just like
Yes.
full of lightning, and it's just like right
Yeah.
here we go kind of thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, it's just for
yeah.
you know, but it's just for anyone who doesn't. But and this is where a film like Doctor Strange really let it down, is that it didn't have that kind of moment.
Yeah.
There wasn't ever a fuck yeah moment, and for me, the moment in this when it tried to have a fuck yeah moment was when she overcomes like being held back by the Kree. She takes off that like chip that's on her neck. She like blasts through it, and then. Just a Girl by No Doubt starts to play, and that was the one time in this film where I was like, that's a really bad song choice, because now it feels like you're really forcing this, and also it's not that much of a good song for a fight scene. The silly thing is that the film ends, the last song, like while the credits are rolling, is Celebrity Skin by Hole, and that would have been so much better. She comes out and then goes into a fight. It's like, why did someone not just think to swap those two?
Yeah.
Really, because swap it that anyway. But that for me was the letdown. The bit at the end where she's fighting all the ships, we were saying this on the way back,
it was alright.
was it feels a bit like the ending of Man of Steel to me, where it's just a bit too much CGI and just flying through space, destroying everything. I get that it's to show how powerful she is, because she's basically like her own Infinity Stone, essentially. So I understand it has to be done. It was a little bit too much for me it was again trying to be another fuck yeah bit, but the actual score wasn't quite good enough to carry it for me. But it was but they're my complaints with the film, and it felt like it took a little bit to wind up into, as in very much for the first 5-10 minutes of this film I was a bit like nah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was for me. It was that it took a while to get going, and then once it did, I was like, all right, no, I'm very much on board with this. And then the ending was just not as satisfying as it could have been. But overall, I do think it was an enjoyable film. It was nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be, considering like a lot of the stuff that I have heard about it, and I don't quite get why there is so much hatred for it.
It's just I think Brie Larson is I'm sure she's a very nice person, and
she's kind of made a rod for her own back.
Yeah, I think she's just maybe spoken before she's actually thought of what she should have said or how she should have phrased it, because as we all know, the most easily offended people are white males. They don't like it when they get told what to do, or or
how dare you say that?
okay, let me just explain something to you here, Dave. Let me just explain something to you here. No, I think she's just said some very silly things, because it's not like a white male's ever said silly things before to press, and there hasn't been a backlash. But this film, for whatever reason, people have painted a bullseye on its chest and have said it's bad, it's the end of Marvel, and all this other stuff. I really don't understand why. It's better than Iron Man 2.
I mean, that's not exactly high praise.
Yeah, I know it's not high praise, but it's by no means the worst film.
No.
It had the most successful box office opening after Infinity War.
Okay.
So it's definitely not done badly in terms of numbers.
Would you see it again?
I wouldn't. I don't feel the need to go see it again at the cinema.
No.
But then again, there aren't that many other Marvel films that I have been to see again at the cinema. There's been other ones that I will definitely watch it again at some point.
Yeah.
But in the same way that with Doctor Strange, Ant-Man and the Wasp, pretty much all of Phase 2.
Still haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Well, fair.
I feel I need
you need to before Infinity War.
I know.
Part 2.
I was hoping it would come out on Netflix sooner rather than later, but I think I might just have to bite the bullet and buy the DVD.
Why don't you just stream it?
I can't do illegal things illegally. That's fine.
What?
But
The
no, it's
stream.
like, but yeah, but no, it's very much like, you know, because I hated the first Ant-Man was just like, it never had, like, you know, you were saying how
Do
it
you
never
think
had
it's better than the first Ant-Man film?
oh god, yes, but I hate the first Ant-Man.
Do you think it's better than Captain America 2? Because you also didn't like that film.
I
Or is it in the same ballpark as that for you?
for me, it was very, like, okay, so I think a good film is a film that you forget you're watching it. You are immersed in it, and there were definite moments in this film where I was like totally absorbed into this film right now.
Yeah.
But it took a while to get there, and then it kind of petered out at Peter at the,
Yes,
at the end of
it
it. So yeah, but no, overall, yeah, good film. Probably, you know, not going to see it again at the cinema, but
No.
I think, you know, and I don't know. I mean, it will be important to the rest of, you know, obviously
It will.
with Endgame.
Well, we know that
coming up.
she's turned up straight away
Yes.
to the Avengers.
To the
by
mid-game, credits.
So I mean, do we think though that she is going to just be there right from the off with Endgame then?
We'll have to find out, and that's for a later review.
Indeed,
No.
indeed it is maybe. But I mean, is there anything else that we want to say? I can't think of anything else.
I think we've covered all our bases there. It's sort of like, you know, plot. Okay, she's better with Samuel L. Jackson. Hopefully, she'll
They
grow
are a
more as a
great team
character.
up.
But she might grow more as a character. She might get to know her character a little bit better, and then have more of a, you know, a bit of a banter and a back and forth. Because obviously, we're not getting Samuel L. Jackson in the next film because that was my dissolving noise.
Yes. He also did the thing with his hands,
Yeah.
which is like the universal
Squiggly,
sign.
squiggly,
Yeah.
That's actually sign language
Yeah.
for you dissolve.
Yes, exactly. I am trying
yeah.
to think if there's anything that I missed. Feed. It's just as far, and because this is an origin film as well, and I thought that it actually did a good job of doing an origin story, which, while it's not groundbreaking, was definitely did feel different.
Yeah.
That definitely did feel different to me, and was nice as well to not just have a Marvel film where it was just a faceless CGI army at the end, or just a bad version of the hero that you fight against at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you maybe could argue there was a faceless CGI army at the end with all the ships that she was destroying.
But it happened over like 30
Yeah,
seconds.
so it's not
it wasn't a
really-
big epic battle.
Yeah,
with it all,
exactly.
yeah.
So no,
Yeah,
I think good.
Okay.
So yeah,
thumbs.
so
What's our thumb system?
okay, so our thumb system is that we each have 2 thumbs. So basically, all of our scores are out of 4. So
So I'm just counting my thumbs.
so basically, how many thumbs are you going to give this from your side?
I will give it 1 thumb.
I will give this film 1 thumb as well,
So
because
so I think this film is 2 thumbs
Thumbs
up,
up.
out of 4.
4. Basically,
Okay.
yes.
Right. Okay.
So
fair enough.
so it's yeah.
So if it was 1 reviewer, it would be 1 thumb up. It's the equivalency, I guess.
Well, I guess, but it's because you could do no thumbs up. Like, I wouldn't give it. So it's the
Can
same.
we do a negative thumb? Okay,
We-
so I guess it's well, that's
If
just
a
a,
film,
that's a
if
thumbs down.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
So
Like, yeah.
well, if a film is really bad, then we'll
have
do
no
thumbs down. No, then we'll do thumbs down,
Okay,
which act as negative thumbs.
Okay.
So
Anti-thumbs.
yes. So for instance, if I was to give a film 2 thumbs up, and you were to give it, say, nothing and just 1 thumb down, that would then impact on my 2 thumbs.
Right.
So it would come out at just 1 thumb.
I need to write this down.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna get complicated as well, because if you really like a film and I don't, then we can do political sort of voting here to bring the average score down. It's gonna get fun. It's gonna get tricky. We might scrap all of this, but for now,
Yeah.
two thumbs up out of 4 for Captain Marvel for us. So yes,
So
Marvel
B,
at your
so B
captain.
minus.
Yes, B minus.
Okay, cool.
basically.
Just to make
Yes.
it very clear, right?
Just to make it very
All
clear.
right, cool. That's our review for Captain Marvel.
And that's our first ever film review. Woo! Everyone's sick of it. If you disagree or agree or whatever, or if we've got information wrong and you just have to let us know, then email or contact us somehow. I don't care how, because we probably won't reply.
Instagram.
Instagram.
Tom's in charge of that.
Stir up that gram.
I don't
if you
have-
want,
I don't
no.
have
If you want to comment on this, because we're putting just everything up on YouTube for the foreseeable future, then Dave is in charge of YouTube.
I'm in charge of YouTube.
So if you want to get hold of Dave, you comment on YouTube. If you want to get hold of me, then send us a message on the gram, and we'll both be on the email as well. Or just don't. I mean, there's no real reason to get in contact with us, is there? I don't know.
No,
No,
we're not that interesting.
no, we're not. Laters.
Bye.
Well, thank you for listening. If you've made it this far, congratulations!
If you would like to contact us, you can do that via Instagram or email. Our email is andnothinghappens@gmail.com, and you can find us on Instagram at andnothinghappens.